Okay, come on guys. Last week I put up a video that I made during a lunch break, basically, about all the lies society tells us about women and how we've created this almost archetype out of women in our society that make their character and their behaviors almost beyond reproach. They're almost honest to a fault, and empathetic is their identity, and emotional intelligence is something that they have, and integrity and honesty and loyalty. It was just all too much for me to deal with. So I put up this video that kind of raged against that. I called it a rant. Anyway, since I put up that video, I've been seeing all the comments and people calling me black pill and all this stuff. And I find it funny because I'm not anti-woman at all. I am anti-society and the way we have deluded ourselves into believing that women are somehow special. I mean, we're all special. We're all special little snowflakes. You know, we all have our thing. But women are no more valuable to society or special than men are. So the whole concept just was, just erroneous, just wrong. And I couldn't put up with it. So today, I'm going to share with you what I learned from artificial intelligence about some of these female characteristics. I punched into my little Perplexity AI, which is a special kind of AI that does research, and I asked it to give me a list of 10 positive characteristics shared by men and women and how we differ in the way we express these characteristics. And I was amused, and I think you will be too. So let's talk about it. All right, so the first one the AI spit back at me was empathy, which is totally fitting because obviously in my video, I hit women on empathy first. So the AI says, or Perplexity says, that men show empathy by offering practical support and problem-solving solutions. Makes sense. That's kind of what I said in my video. However, women often demonstrate empathy through emotional understanding and nurturing relationships. It sounds like a pity party to me. I mean, I don't want to dog on them too much here, but really, emotional understanding, okay, and nurturing relationships, empathy. All right, I think that works really good for infants. I think that, for children, you need to have that nurturing sensation. But if you are dealing with a homeless person, I'm not so sure that understanding and nurturing are gonna do the job. I think you actually need to find them a place to sleep. All right, number 2, emotional intelligence. These AIs are really just large language models, and that means that they're just pulling from data that was input by humans. And emotional intelligence, to me, it's like a characteristic we made up just for women, just for their benefit. But let's do it. I'm just going to read it to you the way it came across to me. So emotional intelligence. Men express emotional intelligence by managing emotions during stressful situations and conflicts. Okay, that's good. That means if we get into an argument, I'm not going to punch you in the nose. I think that's a useful thing. Women, however, tend to excel in emotional intelligence. Of course they do. Why wouldn't they? Particularly in navigating complex social interactions and emotions. Who would have guessed? Now, managing emotions, that's got to be a sliding scale. You know what I mean? Because every interaction I've had with a woman that involved some level of emotional expression was chaotic. Very seldom do I find that women manage emotions well. I think that's why we see so many women taking antidepressant, anti-anxiety drugs, is because they don't know how to manage emotions. So I find it curious that AI spit this back at me. Again, large language model, so we have to kind of go with what we get. But all right, social interactions and managing emotions. Good. Active listening. This is another one of those things that obviously, was designed specifically for women. I don't think this is actually a characteristic, but whatever. I think it's more of a behavior than it is a characteristic. knowing the difference between behaviors and character is really important, and I don't think the AI understands that. All right, so men may focus on listening to solve problems and provide advice. Okay, that seems logical. Women often listen to build emotional connections and offer an empathetic response. Now remember, we were back on empathy, and empathy is about emotional understanding and nurturing relationships, and now active listening is emotional connections and empathetic response. You know, they are giving women a lot of credit for having this emotional ability, this ability to manage emotions and use emotions in a positive way to help other people. But I have rarely seen a woman who is even capable of managing her own emotions under any circumstances, much less a stressful set of circumstances, one where someone is actually needing help, especially if that person is someone they care about, like a child or a friend or a family member. And I'm not dogging on here. I am not trying to rant here. I am just trying to be 100% real. I'm just trying to really understand where they're coming from. So I don't get it. So I'm gonna take the dogs down to the stream and we'll finish that there. But yeah, some of the stuff just seems kind of silly to me. All right, let's move on to the next stop. Well, we didn't make it all the way down to the stream yet, so let's just start with humility. This is a good one. So this is actually a character trait. I don't think active listening and emotional intelligence are character related. I think they're behavior related, but be that as it may. Humility. Men display humility by acknowledging mistakes and giving credit to others without seeking attention. Now that seems like a really good character trait. Women, it says women may show humility through collaboration and downplaying personal achievements to maintain harmony. That's a big may. That's a really big may there. That's like an if. You know what I mean? May and if, kind of the same thing. Downplaying personal achievements to maintain harmony. That would be a special woman. If you go on social media, that's exactly the opposite of what you're going to find. So yeah, I don't think that one's a very strong one for women. And I'm not trying to dog on them here. If I'm wrong, I want to hear it. Tell me in the connections if you think that's an accurate assessment of women's behavior. Now, I know that it's possible some women have it. And I know there's going to be some guy who says, you know, I married the perfect woman and she has, you know, supported me my whole life and she's been a blessing to me in every way, shape, and form. And you know, I'm glad there are unicorns out there. I am so happy to hear it. Because hopefully one day one will stumble into my stall and I won't say ride her, but you know what I mean. All right, let's go on to the next one here. Self-discipline. This is one of my favorites. Men often use self-discipline to achieve long-term goals, such as career success and personal growth. Women may apply self-discipline in balancing multiple roles, such as career, family, and self-care. You know, I think I'm going to insert excerpts from my last video because I went off on this topic. Balancing self-discipline, balancing multiple roles such as career, family, and self-care. First of all, I have yet to meet a woman who does a good job of balancing career with family. Secondly, self-care? What the fuck is that? Really? That's a thing? Yeah, I don't think that's a thing. All right, going on to number 6 here, courage. This is a character trait. This is something I can go with. Men tend to demonstrate courage by taking risks or standing up for others in challenging situations. That sounds reasonable. I think that's a reasonable definition, and I think that's something that is true. Women often show courage by advocating for themselves, doesn't sound too courageous to me, and others, maybe, especially in social or professional settings. So while we're out there getting bombed by grenades falling from drones, they're making peace at the coffee machine and handing out donuts. That's what that sounds like to me. That doesn't sound too courageous. Now, I'm trying not to be unfair. I am really trying to be not unfair. Maybe I'm trying to be a little funny here, but maybe I'm taking it too far. If I'm really just being unfair to women, please let me know. But advocating them for themselves doesn't sound very courageous. I mean, that should be like life 101. And then for others, I think that advocating for others, like, that should be something that we do also. I mean, that doesn't sound very courageous. In social and professional settings, what? Who died in a social or professional setting? I mean, really? I'm sorry. I don't mean to be mean, but really. All right, number 7, integrity. This is a killer. This one, I went off on integrity on the last video. So integrity in men is often linked with being true to their word and maintaining a strong moral compass. Okay, I think that's valid. And that's a true statement. Women exhibit integrity by staying true to their values, even when faced with social or societal pressure. Now, values is something that's intrinsically set. That's something that we do. And it seems like it could be something that shifts. I'm not going to beat them up too bad, but it doesn't seem quite as strong as being true to your word and having a strong moral compass. Being true to your values in the face of societal pressures sounds a little mamby-pamby, but I'm just going to let it go, whatever. Resilience. Okay, here we go. This is number 8. Men show resilience through persistence in achieving goals despite setbacks or failures. All right, that's a good one. I'm down with that. Women often display resilience by adapting to challenges, particularly in balancing professional and personal life. Now, in my last one, we already discussed this, but balancing professional and personal life is not something they do really well at. So I would say that resilience gets a 0. I don't think that's a valid statement. I don't think that resilience is something that I would look at typically. Now, I'm sure there's lots of women out there who do a great job at that. I think there's probably a book written about one. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's a woman out there that's done a good job at that. Okay, leadership, number 9. Leadership is often, in men, leadership is characterized by assertive decision-making and providing direction. In women, female leadership frequently emphasizes collaboration, emotional intelligence, and inclusivity. Now, we already discussed emotional intelligence, and that was an offshoot of empathy and self-care. So I don't know about that one. Assertiveness and decision-making seems like that's the core definition of leadership. Collaboration and emotional intelligence sounds more like negotiation, and sometimes I guess leadership is about negotiation, but oftentimes it's about getting things done. So maybe give them a partial credit on that one. Number 10, caring and compassion. Now, you would think they would dominate here, right? Men express care through actions like providing for others. That's a big one. Or protecting loved ones. That's another big one. Women typically show compassion through emotional support, nurturing relationships, and community building. All right, you guys can take that one. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to go down that path. I'm not going to take the bait on that one. But that's the 10. So you guys get an idea there that similar characteristics, different ways of employing them in the world. Now, maybe my criticisms of them are simply because as a man, I don't understand the value of some of the things that they bring to the table. And I'm sure at times all that nurturing and emotional intelligence will come in handy. And I'm sure that self-care has got to be super, super valuable. But when I look at the characteristics that men bring to the table, and I'm trying to be as objective as possible here, the value that we bring to a relationship, to society, to our country, to an organization, these are the kinds of characteristics I want to have around me. If I'm in a foxhole, you know, I want courage in the form of taking action to protect others, not forming, you know, advocating for others. You know what I mean? Like there's no time for advocation or advocating for people in a foxhole. You know, I guess you could call for the medic, I don't know, but I'm just not sure that these values that we're talking about here are on an equal plane, if you know what I mean. And I'm really trying not to be a dick here. I'm trying to be as objective as possible. But women complain that they don't get paid as much as men. I don't know how they don't. I mean, my God, with all those characteristics, who wouldn't pay them? But so if you've ever raised a child, you know there will come a time in that child's life when you need to tell them that they're doing a great job, even though they suck at whatever it is they're doing. Like, for example, if your kid isn't a fast runner and he gets crushed in every race and he's just devastated by it, well, you tell him, you're doing great, man. Just keep running, you know. You're a good runner too. Or if your daughter really sucks at math and she's struggling with it, you say, no, honey, you're good at math. You just need a little more practice. You just need a little more help. You know, we're always very, very encouraging to our children, and it's a very sweet and wonderful thing. Well, I kind of wonder if this is what we do with women when it comes to these character traits. Because although I think it's wonderful that they can express courage by advocating and they can express integrity with emotions and shifting values, I really question in society, and this is a serious question, have we kind of built them up to make them feel good about themselves, despite the fact that we all kind of know that they're really not very good at some of this stuff? I mean, is that the way it is? Because I kind of feel that. That's kind of the sensation that I get from this whole situation. It feels like we're all just kind of going along with it, just to keep things kosher. You know, just keep everything on the down low so that no one gets too upset. Because if that's the case, then just let me know in the comments, because I think that might be what we're doing here, that maybe we're all just fooling everyone, including ourselves, into believing that women have similar characteristics as men and that they express them in ways that are equally as important, when clearly that couldn't be true. I mean, even the artificial intelligence, which is a large language model that's just built by educated people who tend to lean very liberal, wasn't very convincing. Just now, as fate would have it, a young couple walks by, very cute. They're walking through the woods. They're probably, you know, late teens, early 20s. And, you know, there's definitely a little something going on there, a little romance, whatever. But, you know, we men, we get sucked in so easily, don't we? And we're all victims of it. You know, we can't even help ourselves. And I guess that's the magic that women bring, is they definitely have the ability to manipulate us. They definitely have the ability to suck us into their world. And yeah, it's like eating ice cream. You know it's delicious, but it's not good for you. You know, it's good. It tastes good going down. But yeah, you're gonna live with that for a long time. All right, you guys, I'm not gonna go on this any further. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Give me some feedback in the comments. Tell me, am I being a complete jerk? And I'm sure some of the women will tell me that. I am kind of doing a little tongue-in-cheek with this thing, just so you guys know. But at the same time, there's a grain of truth that runs through it, okay? There is a tiny grain of truth that runs through the whole thing. And you have to admit that when you break down these characteristics and you start looking at them empirically, and you see the way men typically react versus the way women typically react, or how they express these things, you can see how there is an enormous difference in value. They are much more concerned about the emotional health of another person, while we're much more concerned about the overall health of that person. You know, if somebody's bleeding out on the ground, You want a man there wrapping that guy up and making sure he doesn't die, not a woman there making sure he's feeling good about it. Are you okay? Can I help you with something? Don't be sad. Everybody dies. But anyway, that's all I got. Stay healthy. If you can, stay single. I'll see you next time.